What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Fantasy Pros Dynasty Football Podcast presented by Reality Sports Online. My name is Kyle Yates, and I am your host, and I am joined for the last time as a normal co-host on this podcast, Ray Garvin. Ray, how we doing, man?
Doing well, brother. Doing well. Had a good run with you. Really proud of what we've been able to do in a short amount of time, and I cannot wait to come back on as a guest, man. I know it's going to continue to rock out, so just excited to watch the growth.
Absolutely, man. You are welcome back anytime you want to just do a podcast. You just send me a text, and we'll bring you back on. I don't care if I do 4 podcasts that week. We will get you back on, man, to make sure that you can have your thoughts and opinions shared, man. Appreciate everything that you have done to be able to make it flexible, like your schedule flexible up to this point, man. It's just been a ton of fun, but we're not done yet. We have a really, really exciting show tonight. We are doing a startup Superflex Dynasty mock draft over at Fantasy Pros and the Draft Simulator. So I want to let's get right into this, right? Because we got a ton that we have to get through. So I want to just walk through the settings and the overall layout here. So we've got, again, a Superflex. So you've got your quarterback starting position, and then 3 running back, 3 wide receiver, a tight end, a wide receiver, running back, and tight end flex spot, and then a super flex spot, which is a quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end spot, and then 14 bench players there. So 24 overall, and again, we would love to do up to 28, 29, 30. We would love to go super deep here into these dynasty rosters for you, but man, we've got lives that we have to live. We've got kids, man. We can't be on here for 2 hours. So we're cutting it at that 24 player threshold there, and let's just get right into it. Ray, are you ready to get this rolling?
Let's do it, man.
All right, perfect. So let's start this draft here. This is loading up. While this is loading, I want to make sure that everyone knows that we do have a giveaway going on right now for a Jonathan Taylor signed Colts jersey, courtesy of our friends at Pristine Auction. For more information on that, head over to fantasypros.com/dynasty contest. Again, that's a Jonathan Taylor signed Colts jersey. Head to fantasypros.com/dynasty contest for more information. All right, Ray, we've got the draft order. You pulled the 102 here in a Superflex spot, and then I've got the 106. So you're drafting on the turn there, which kind of sucks in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of drafting on the turn.
Like it.
You pulled that here. I got the middle of it. We got Patrick Mahomes going off the board here at the 101. And now you are here at the 102. Are you going Christian McCaffrey? Are you foregoing quarterback here and going with a guaranteed workhorse running back? Or are you going to go with the quarterback here in a Superflex startup?
I do not like this spot. I don't want the 102 because I just don't want this spot. Like, I'm not happy right now. I'm not happy, but I'm not taking Christian McCaffrey. I'm taking the stud quarterback. He's my personal quarterback 3 in Dynasty behind Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes. But Josh Allen is a stud. I'll take him right here, and we'll start to build our roster out with Josh Allen.
All right, perfect. So we got Patrick Mahomes there, and then Josh Allen. Now you mentioned that he's your quarterback 3, and you do have Dak Prescott there at QB2 or at QB2. Like, why didn't you take Prescott there at the 102?
I'm just betting that maybe he'll fall a little bit. It ain't happening, but I want the younger player in Josh Allen.
Sure. All right. So then Christian McCaffrey goes off the board at the 103. Saquon 104. Dalvin Cook 105 here. So I have my pick of the quarterbacks here on the board. You know what? I'm going to try a little bit of a different strategy here. I want to walk out of a Superflex startup with 2 quarterbacks within the first 4 rounds. Typically in the first round, I'm pulling the trigger on a quarterback, but the position's pretty deep here, especially with some of these rookies that are stepping in. So I'm going to look at the running back position here and load up on that. You know what I'm doing? I'm going young here. I'm going a stud, and I'm going Jonathan Taylor at the 106. So I'm going to try a little bit of a different strategy. It's something that I haven't done. Normally, I'm walking out of the first round in a Superflex startup with a quarterback here. I'm going to go with the running back. And then the guy that you wanted there to fall to you did not fall. He goes at the 107. That's Dak Prescott, of course. Tyreek Hill at the 108. Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Nick Chubb, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Kyler Murray, Alvin Kamara at the 203, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and then Ezekiel Elliott at the 206. So I bet that some of the quarterbacks that I wanted were still going to be here, and they did. I've got Russell Wilson sitting here on the board for me at the 207, and I feel like here I can go quarterback, or with getting Russ, who I do believe is like a top 8, top 7 dynasty quarterback. I can get him here, and then in the 4th round, I can pull the trigger on one of those younger quarterbacks. I'll go Russ here. I feel like this is I gambled a little bit that one of these quarterbacks was going to be here. They did. We've got Russ here at the 207.
All right, I got to make some moves now because I am Yates 211. I'm going to pivot right now because of exactly what you said. There's some young quarterbacks there, and I know I'll be able to get one at the 302 spot. I cannot risk a top 5 running back in Dynasty going off the board between 212 and 301. So I'm taking Cam Akers right here at the 211 spot.
I feel like Akers is one of those last guys that is like a true workhorse back, right? Like one of these guys that is getting a guaranteed workload. So to get him here at the 211, I feel like that's good value. And you didn't see a quarterback go off the board there. You got Justin Jefferson going at the 212, DeAndre Swift at the 301. Who are we thinking at quarterback here at the 302?
Yeah, you know where I'm going. I'm getting youth. I'm drafting youth to pair out my quarterback core with Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence. So I'm excited to see him here in the 3rd round. I know that's high, and maybe if Deshaun Watson didn't have all those issues swirling around him, he probably would be the pick. But I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence right here at the 302 spot.
I feel like that's good value, man. To get a guy who has the potential to be the QB1 in all of Dynasty, sooner rather than later. At least that's how he's being billed, and I do think that he has the talent and floor to get there. So, here at the 302 to pair with Josh Allen, who has proven that he can carry a Dynasty squad. Yeah. So I feel like that's good. Najee Harris, man, I was thinking about Najee Harris here at this spot. He goes at the 304, Stephon Diggs at the 303, and then Aaron Jones 305. So now I said that I've got Russell Wilson in hand. I was thinking about quarterback here at this spot. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to roll the dice and hope that this quarterback that I want gets back to me. And I am going to draft. Everyone and their mother does. I'm going to go with Joe Mixon here at the 306 because still only 24 years old, has a workload like none other in the NFL, practically none other in the NFL, man. So I just feel like to get him here to start off with Jonathan Taylor and Joe Mixon and Russell Wilson, I feel like this is a fantastic start.
Yeah.
So I am now back up at the 407 to highlight some names that went off there. We had George Kittle right after, J.K. Dobbins, Deshaun Watson, Austin Eckler. Only 2 quarterbacks went off after my selection there. Calvin Ridley, Michael Thomas, Miles Sanders, Chris Godwin, Darren Waller, Terry McLaurin, Aaron Rodgers, and then Antonio Gibson. So I rolled the dice that my quarterback would be here. He is indeed. And everyone at the same time says it's Trey Lance, quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers here at the 407. Listen, I know that he might not start right away, but you know what I can do is I can wait a little bit further into the 6th, 7th round, and I can grab a Kirk Cousins. I can grab a Derek Carr. I can grab a Carson Wentz. I can grab one of these other proven veteran running backs to be that QB2 for my roster, and then once Trey Lance sees the field, he can step up. So CeeDee Lamb at the 408, Clyde Edwards-Helaire 409, Josh Jacobs 410. Ray, you're up at the 411.
I thought Clyde would fall. This draft, it's just not going according to plan. It is not. I thought Clyde would be there at 411. I had it teed up. And let me just tell you right now, running back is already, it's borderline disgusting, like where we're at right now already, and it's the 4th round. I'm not going to do it right now. You know what? I'm going to take a wide receiver, and I am going to take DJ Moore right here at the 411 spot. And there goes Jamar Chase. I thought of Jamar Chase, but DJ Moore is talented in an ascending offense. I'll take him. So right here at the 5'11", Jamar Chase went, then Travis Etienne. Again, running back is bad right now, and I'm deciding between David Montgomery or Javonte Williams. Yates, I don't know what to do, man. I really I don't really want either right here at the 502. It seems early for Javonte Williams. It seems so early.
It does. But
you know what? As much slack as David Montgomery takes, when he's given the ball, he's pretty doggone good. Yep. And you get Justin Fields in there. You get the threat of the rushing quarterback along with Montgomery. You've got Mooney and A-Rob on the outside. I like Monty right here as my RB2.
Absolutely. I figured that I was going to point out that that's where you had to go, man.
Yeah.
With David Montgomery there. And one of those last guys who has a ton of work on the ground. Now, I think that with Tariq Cohen coming back, I think he's not going to see the target totals that he did last year, but he's still going to have a very, very high workload on the ground. All right, so then we saw Tyler Lockett, Keenan Allen, and Brandon Ayuk go. Man, I'm running this pick up, and I am handing this card in because there is no way that Allen Robinson should be on the board here at the 506. I don't understand it. Like, Allen Robinson has been producing insane numbers with Mitchell Trubisky, Blake Bortles, Nick Foles. Like, I can go on and on about the list of quarterbacks that he's played with. Now he's going to get Justin Fields here in town. So this is just a home run selection. I cannot believe that he is still on the board. Allen Robinson at the 506.
I love it. Love it, man.
All right.
I thought about it.
So yeah, so Amari Cooper, Javonte Williams, you were debating him there. He goes off the board at the 508. Kareem Hunt, Kenny Galladay, Chris Carson, James Robinson at the 512. That's a little bit early than I would have thought for Robinson there. Justin Fields at the 601. Kyle Pitts, Ryan Tannehill at the 603. T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton. I am back up because you are sitting on the turn and you have forever in between your picks. So I am looking here with some of the quarterbacks. I talked about my strategy there early on. I still can wait. I don't have to pull the trigger here on quarterback. I can wait this one out. So I'm looking now at the running back position. And oh man, it's really gross. I mean, sitting here, Myles Gaskin, Ronald Jones, Chase Edmonds, Melvin Gordon, Damian Harris, Michael Carter, Trey Sermon. I am not really super crazy about any of those names. I'm going to go here with, oh my word, 8 seconds. I'm going to go Julio. I'm going to go Julio here, man. For everything that Julio, I mean, he's nearing the end of his career, but I still think that he's got a couple of years left. And to get him here in the 6th round to be my wide receiver 2, I can go youth later on, but I know that with a team already like Jonathan Taylor and Joe Mixon, with Russell Wilson, I feel like I'm going to be able to compete right away, and especially Allen Robinson already, I feel like I'm going to be able to compete right away. So I've let the strategy kind of play out within the first couple rounds. I know what my team looks like. I know that I've got a win now window, and now let's go after it. Let's build it. So Julio Jones here at the 607, Zach Wilson at the 608, Mark Andrews 609, and then Deontay Johnson at the 610. Ray, you're on the clock at the 611.
Yeah, this is one player that I am trying to acquire across every dynasty league. I know a lot of people keep talking about this player coming back and maybe pushing Jerry Judy to the 1B role. I think he could be the 1A in Denver, and I love Jerry Judy right here. So I am rushing to draft Jerry Judy here at the 611. I see Tua come off of the board, then Cooper Kupp. It's just a sweet spot for wide receivers. I mean, I'm looking at the receivers, and they're so good. It's so deep. But I want the guys that have an opportunity to just be target magnets, target hogs. You look at the running backs, best available, Myles Gaskin, Ronald Jones, Chase Edmonds, Melvin Gordon, Damian Harris. I can't guarantee that those 5 players will even be starting running backs after next season.
Right.
So I can't do it. The quarterback position is still deep. There's still tons of starting quarterbacks available. So I'm going to try to get some of the best available wide receiver talent, and I'm going to go with some youth here, and I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles' #1 wide receiver, Devontae Smith. And we saw Jamar Chase come off of the board at the 412. So to get Devontae Smith, top 10 pick in his own right on an offense that needs a wide receiver here at the 702, smashing it, man.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the running back position, man, and it just kind of falls off a cliff here. So to take the overall talent there with Devontae Smith makes a ton of sense. We saw Matthew Stafford go with the 703, Jalen Hurts at the 704, Robert Woods, 705. I am now on the clock here, and I feel like you talked about it with the running back position. I've got to pull the trigger here because I need an RB3 on my roster. I need depth at this position. I've got to start 3 of them. So I'm going to go here with Myles Gaskin. Now, I don't know if this is even a guarantee that he is really the starter. I think that he has a very, very high percentage chance, but we don't know what the Dolphins truly wanted to do. I just heard something out of my window and it scared me. We don't know what the Dolphins truly wanted to do with Savon Ahmed fully healthy and Myles Gaskin at the same time. So I'm going to go Myles Gaskin here at the 706. Pull the trigger because I know that he's going to have every opportunity to start, but it's mostly because the running back position is getting pretty gross here pretty quick. All right. So we had Rashad Bateman go right after Juju Smith at the Juju Smith-Schuster at the 708, Chase Claypool 709, Baker, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. All right, now we're starting to see some of those veteran quarterbacks go off the board here. Ronald Jones at the 801, DJ Chark, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyler Boyd, TJ Hawkinson, Daniel Jones at the 806, and now I'm back on the clock at the 807. I'm looking at the quarterback position here, man, because talked about it. I've got to get some of these guys that I feel like can step in and contribute at the quarterback position while I wait for Trey Lance. So I'm going to go here with Kirk Cousins. Now, Kirk Cousins here in a couple of years, do I think that he's the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings? No, I don't. But I don't need him to be. I need him to be the starting quarterback right now. He's got some playmakers around him. He can be a valuable QB2 for me. And then once Trey Lance steps over, then he's a valuable depth piece. So Kirk Cousins here at the 807. You are now up on the clock at the 811.
Yeah, 8-11 spot. I'm pretty set at quarterback. I'd love to have 3 to 4 in Superflex, but where I'm at with Trevor Lawrence and Josh Allen, I can wait a little bit longer. Running back, listen, there are some players that I was thinking about taking 2 rounds ago that are still sitting right there, and I think it's because we just don't know what their dynasty outlook is going to be, but we have to start 3, and if I had to bet on Chase Edmonds, Melvin Gordon, Damian Harris, or Michael Carter continuing either a starter's role or a heavy complementary role, I'm going to bet my money with Chase Edmonds because I don't think he's a true bell cow in the traditional sense of the word, but I do think that even if they brought in another running back to complement him, he's still going to be proficient in the receiving game. So right here, I feel really good having Chase Edmonds as my RB3, and I'm back up. I saw Will Fuller and Michael Carter, one of those running backs that I talked about coming off of the board, have gone off, and I'm looking around, and I like how my roster is shaping out. Still don't have a tight end, but at this point, I'm still looking for talent. I want to get some of the best players on the board. And, oh, man, am I going to do it? I'm going to make this move. This is Dynasty. This is a Dynasty show. In anticipations that during the preseason, during training camp, I will be able to flip this player because he does a sweet run in OTAs or training camp, and he's in that Kyle Shanahan offense playing with Trey Lance. And I'm going to take Trey Sermon here at the 902 with anticipation of trading him.
All right, so you took Trey Sermon there at the 902, of course. Then Jared Goff goes off the board at the 903. Deebo Samuel, 904. Logan Thomas at the 905. I am now up on the clock at the 906. I'm looking at my roster now because I have completely forgotten who I have drafted up to this point. I've got Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, Myles Gaskin, Allen Robinson, Julio Jones, Trey Lance, and Kirk Cousins, and of course Russell Wilson there. So I'm looking at running back, looking at if I can add any of these guys before it starts to fall off a cliff. And you know what? I think I want to do this because with some of the wide receiver depth, I can take advantage of that later on. So I'm going to go here Melvin Gordon. Now, I don't know if Melvin Gordon necessarily is going to have a locked-in starting role this year, but I do think that he's still going to have some value for fantasy. And there's, the potential even next year, once his contract is up, that he finds another starting job. Like, he's still a talented running back. Is he a top-tier running back? No. But here in the middle of the 9th round, I feel like I have to scoop him up here because I want to get ahead of this drop-off that's about to come up. So, all right, so then looking at who went off the board after that, Michael Pittman at the 907, Kenyon Drake, Damian Harris, Rondale Moore at the 911 there, and then Elijah Moore at the 1004, Jalen Reagor at the 1005, just to highlight a few names there. Of course, if you want to follow along with the draft board, please head over to youtube.com/FantasyPros. You're able to follow along with the entire draft board as we go through it. All right, I'm back up here at the 1007. And I've got enough quarterbacks right now where I'll take another shot on one later on down the road. But I do want to start looking at filling out this wide receiver core that I've got. So Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, Marquise Brown, Jarvis Landry, Corey Davis. These are some of the guys that are at the top of the list here. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go with the guy who potentially could be the wide receiver 1 here in New York. We just saw Elijah Moore go off the board before him. I'll take Corey Davis, man. I feel like even though obviously Elijah Moore has the youth on his side, Corey Davis, we know what we're getting with him. And I think that the Jets brought him in free agency intentionally. They paid him a lot of money. I feel like he has a very, very solid chance to lead this team in receiving. To get him here as my wide receiver 3 at the 1007, I am fine pulling the trigger there. Devin Singletary at the 10:08. Jameis Winston at the 10:09. Tony Pollard, 10:10. Ray, you are up now at the 10:11.
Man, I am smiling because the running back that I was going to take a round ago is still there. And listen, he's still not an old running back. He's not old yet. I think playoff Lenny is, 26 years old, 27?
Yep.
Listen, I'm betting on him to have another strong season, potentially get the 2-year deal after his duty is done in Tampa Bay. So you know what? I'm going to go with playoff Lenny right here at the 10-11 spot, and I'm happy with that. Like, I feel good about my running back core. We're good. And hey, I'm not expecting huge numbers from him, but when he gets the opportunity, Leonard Fournette performs very well. So I like that. I saw Terrace Marshall and Kadarius Toney, a little bit of a rookie run happening. So I'm sitting here at the 11:02 spot, and to get a starting quarterback, a future starting quarterback here in Superflex at 11:02, I'm not going to pass that up. He's young. He was a first-round pick, top 15 pick, playing in New England. Yates, it's my final show. You know good and damn well I am not going to leave this draft without getting my man. And here at the 11:02, I truly believe that's a pretty good spot to get Mac Jones. So I'm going to take Mac Jones and have my 3 quarterbacks locked in.
There we go. All right, so at the 11:02, Derek Carr, Tom Brady, and Jimmy Garoppolo all go off the board right after. You started a quarterback run there, man. So now at the 11:06, I'm looking at wide receiver. Again, still some of the guys that I talked about last time. Brandon Cooks is still here. Michael Gallup, Marquise Brown, and then Jarvis Landry. I'm looking at tight end. Noah Fant is sitting here atop the board, which is tempting. Dallas Goddard, Mike Gesicki, Irv Smith are some of the names there, but running back, of course, I've got guys like, we talked about it, James Conner, David Johnson. Oh, man. But you know what? I think at the running back position here, I'm going to play this strategy out a little bit because I think that I can take advantage of some of the wide receiver youth and the depth later on. There are still several names as I look down that list where I'm like, I feel comfortable pulling the trigger on any of those. I'm going to go Mike Davis here because I think that he is the last of these, like, starting running backs in a system that wants to run the ball heavily, and I think that he can be very, very effective and efficient. So to be a depth piece here on my dynasty roster, I might not need him to start, but I know that he's going to get a ton of work, and I know that I can turn to him if need be. All right, so I'm back now at the 12:07. And I am looking now. Brandon Cooks is still sitting here, man. Like, none of these wide receivers. Devontae Parker went ahead of him. Amon-Ra St. Brown, really. At the 11-12, I thought that he was going to be there for me in a couple rounds. He went a little bit early here. Brandon Cooks, listen, the guy is completely undervalued across the board. And if Deshaun Watson is still in town, then Brandon Cooks has the potential to be a very, very solid and potentially even a wide receiver 1 next season if it is Deshaun Watson. Now, I think that no matter who the quarterback is, Cooks is still going to perform. So I will go Brandon Cooks here, still only 27 years old. It feels like he's a lot older because he's been shipped around so many different places, but the value here, I was thinking about taking him 2 rounds ago. Here at the 12:07, I'll pull the trigger. Before you get to your pick, Ray, do you want to read off your roster for me?
Yeah, so right now I've got Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, and Mac Jones at quarterback, Cam Akers, David Montgomery, Chase Edmonds, and Leonard Fournette at running back, DJ Moore, Jerry Judy, and Devonta Smith as wide receivers.
Perfect. All right, so really interesting. At the 12:09, Jay Jefferson went off the board, and I was like, did Justin Jefferson somehow get here? No, Jamar Jefferson, the running back for Detroit. So you are giving me a mini panic attack that I passed up Justin Jefferson in the 12th round. You are now up at the 12:11. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to stop the slide for Michael Gallup. He's such a talented wide receiver. And although his future in Dallas looks a little cloudy right now, I think he's got a shot to earn a big payday in free agency. Or they may let Amari Cooper go and roll with Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. So I'm taking Michael Gallup here at 211. Such a talented wide receiver. Fantastic pick by me. You don't even have to tell me. I know it was a great pick to get Gallup here at the 211. And right now, the tight end pool is so deep. But I just have a feeling here in the 13th round that some of them are going to go, and I'm going to be real sick that I didn't grab one right here. So I'm going to take Noah Fant. I'm going to go with Denver's quarterback, Denver's tight end. Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, either or. I mean, Noah Fant's going to do his thing. He's one of the most athletic tight ends in the league, so I'm going to go Noah Fant.
If you weren't taking him at the 1302 and he was there for me at the 1306, I was absolutely going to pull the trigger on Noah Fant. That was too far for him to fall. You know what I'm going to do, though, here? I am going to go with Dallas Goddard. There's still so much surrounding Zach Ertz being traded from this team that I do think that Dallas Goddard, even if Zach Ertz still is in town, I think that Goddard can still be a reliable option. And I'll double dip here, right? With these later guys, if I can't get a Kelsey, a Kittle, Waller, whatever, in Dynasty, then I'm more than comfortable double dipping here at the tight end position within a relative range, right within close proximity here. So I will go Dallas Goddard at the 1306 to be my tight end one. And then we've got a significant run here on several players. Gus Edwards, Philip Lindsay, Le'Veon Bell at the 1310. I forgot about Le'Veon Bell. Sony Michel at the 1410. Gabe Davis, 1404. Christian Kirk, 1406. Just to highlight a few, I am back on the clock here. And none of the tight ends, right? None of the other tight ends went off the board. Yeah. Oh, Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry at the 1312. I probably wasn't going to take Hunter Henry. But there is Jonnu Smith still on the board here, man. So if I can walk out in our final draft together, and I can walk out with Trey Lance, and I can walk out with Jonnu Smith, and you get Mac Jones, man, we're staying on brand. We gotta keep that going, staying on brand here. So Jonnu Smith, I will take him here and double dip at that tight end position.
I think I love the value. I was going to go, he was going to be my pick. I think that's great value to get Jonnu Smith in the 14th. Like, you pair him with Goddard, and even, let's say, Ertz doesn't get traded. Now you got Jonnu Smith. I mean, I love the pick. I love this pick that I'm about to make right here to add wide receiver depth, and that's Darnell Mooney. I think he's a fantastic wide receiver that's being slept on. So give me Darnell Mooney right here at the 14-11. And then we did see Mike Gesicki and Rashad Penny come off of the board, so I'm back up at the 15-02. And I'm going to take a look at the running backs, and I'm going to get out of the running backs and move on to the next position.
What's behind this door? Nope.
Yeah, no thank you. And I think I'm going to double dip because the most talented players left on the board, in my opinion, they happen to play the tight end position, and you can never have too many tight ends. And I might shock people here because I'm not going to go Irv Smith Jr., listen, this is the show about being on brand. And I think my very first episode, I talked about Robert Tonyan, and I still love Robert Tonyan. So I'm going to take Robert Tonyan here at the 15-02.
Yeah, again, staying on brand there. You do have the concerns of what happens if Aaron Rodgers leaves, but Tonyan has proved that he can be a valuable receiving option there. And I feel like if it is Jordan Love, then he's going to need that reliable option over the middle of the field, so he's going to need someone that he can just throw the ball to. So it'll be Tonyan there, like that pick. All right, so I am now back up here at the 1506, and some of these guys, man, the list is starting to get a little dicey here. I am going to look at, wide receiver. You talk about running back, not great, Bob. No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do running back here. I'm going to go with Savon Ahmed. I took Myles Gaskin, right? I did take Myles Gaskin, right?
Smart.
Yes, I did. I'm going to take Savon Ahmed here and lock down that backfield. It's not Malcolm Brown. It's not Malcolm Brown. He's not. It's either Myles Gaskin or Savon Ahmed. So to make sure that I at least get that backfield, maybe even both of them can be fantasy relevant at the same time. But if one of these guys steps up, if one of them gets injured, then I've got the leading running back here for the Miami Dolphins in a much, much improved offense. So Savon Ahmed there at the 15-06, right? Yep. So then we've got some of these quarterbacks went off the board. Ryan Fitzpatrick, someone taking a dart throw on Jamie Newman there at the 15-10. Jordan Love at the 15-12. Trubisky, Dalton going off the board here. I'm now back up at the 16-07. And I am going to go with another running back here because I think that some of the wide receiver depth, it hasn't moved. These guys at the top. So I'm going to take the running back here. I'm going to go Latavius Murray and just continue to build out this depth. Murray has not been as relevant as I would hope, right? He's been someone who's just been kind of on the edge, but I think that they're going to need him in this offense, right? If this offense struggles with Taysom Hill, with Jameis Winston, they're going to need the ground game. Latavius Murray is still a valuable depth piece on a dynasty roster. So in the 16th round, I'm fine pulling the trigger there. Gardner Minshew at the 1608, Evan Engram, Larry Roundtree, good pick there right before you. At the 1611, Ray, where are we going?
Yeah, at this point, I'm getting talent. I want good players. I'm not drafting for depth. And, the running back, I would love to have a fifth. I've got 4 guys. I'm not taking any of these running backs over the player that I'm about to take right now, just off of a talent and opportunity standpoint. So, you know what? The heck with it. I'm going back to the tight end pool, and I'm taking Cole Kmet here at the 16-11 spot. I would prefer him over Paris Campbell and those other guys at the wide receiver position. So, I'm looking at running back again. It's gross. It's not fun. Quarterback is gross. I guess at this point, looking at the wide receivers, I'll take a chance on this player becoming the number 1 wide receiver, or at least the number 1 wide receiver option in Las Vegas. It's speculative. It's a guess. But Bryan Edwards, if you're going to do it, damn it, do it this season. So let's go here at the 1702.
Right. I still am a big believer in Bryan Edwards. I think he's got the talent. It's just now about staying healthy. But the 17th round, you're starting to take some some shots and throwing darts at the dartboard. And I think that Bryan Edwards is a solid option there. De'Ami Brown goes at the 1703, which was someone that I was considering. But the guy that I wanted did not go off the board. Man, we got Trey Lance. We got Jonnu Smith. Let's keep it going. I'm going Dwayne Eskridge here at the 1706. I got to get that. I got to get younger at the wide receiver position anyway. I'll do it with a guy that I'm a big fan of. So Eskridge there at the 1706. Ray, nope, I'm still up here at the 1807 now. Looking at, I'm going to take another dart throw with a guy who right now is penciled in as the wide receiver 2 on this team. His competition is Marquez Callaway and Lil Jordan Humphrey for the wide receiver 2 spot here in New Orleans. If it is Jameis Winston, who can push the ball deep downfield, and we know that he can, Tre'Quan Smith has the potential to be a just breakout star this season. Now, it's going to, 4th year, I think, in the league, 5th year, maybe. It's a late breakout, but with Jameis Winston, if he does win this job, Tre'Quan Smith can absolutely be fantasy relevant. I'll take the shot here in the 18th round. Tre'Quan Smith.
Yeah, this is get your guy season.
Right.
This is just you're just getting your guy. That's what we're doing at this point. I have no clue who's going to be the starting running back in New York, the New York Jets. I don't think anybody does. We talk about Carter. Is Frank Gore still there? His corpse may still be in the backfield. Frank Gore literally still may be there. I saw Ty Johnson just come off of the board of 1 pick before. I'm just going to say the heck with it. LaMichael Pirine, maybe. We'll see. Yep. It's gross. LaMichael Pirine here at the 1811. We saw Matt Breida, Jack Doyle come off of the board. I'm going to take another shot here, and it's Superflex, so you can never have too many quarterbacks, and all I need is for this player to get on the field one time, and I can trade him for a lot more than acquiring him at the 1902. And I'm going Kellen Mond, the quarterback out of Minnesota.
Good pick. Yeah, this is an oversight on my part where I needed to invest in quarterback, a QB4 here, sooner than I have. I've got Russ, I've got Trey Lance, I've got Kirk Cousins, but I need that QB4, and I needed to do that a little bit earlier. So as soon as you said, as soon as you talked about Matt Breida and Jack Doyle, I was thinking about my next pick. I was yeah, quarterback probably, and I'm looking at the options. I was all right, Kellen Mond, and that's a good pick there for you. So looking here, quarterback is Tyrod Taylor, Dwayne Haskins, Jacoby Brissett, Davis Mills, Nick Foles. It's really rough, but I do think that the guy who I think has the potential to start this season and at least provide some fantasy value and depth, right? Ideally, I'm never starting this quarterback, but it's nice to know that if I do have to plug him in, that I have him as a starting quarterback, Tyrod Taylor here in the 19th round. Yeah. Listen, I'm not excited about this pick whatsoever, but we're in the 19th round, and I need a QB4 here, so pull the trigger on Tyrod. All right, I keep doing this. All right, I'm now back up at the 2007. I keep forgetting which pick is the turn there. All right, so 2007, I'm looking at my roster now of Russ, Trey Lance, Kirk Cousins, Tyrod Taylor at the quarterback position, Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, Myles Gaskin, Melvin Gordon, Mike Davis, Latavius Murray, Savon Ahmed at running back, super deep on running back, Allen Robinson, Julio Jones, Brandon Cooks, Dwayne Eskridge, Traquan Smith at wide receiver. So wide receivers a little bit thin here. And then, of course, Dallas Goddard and Jonnu Smith at tight end. So I'm going to go with a guy who they just brought in intentionally, right? They paid him a lot of money early on in free agency. They have a plan for him here. That is Nelson Aguilar. So am I the biggest Nelson Aguilar fan on the planet? No, I am not. But he has the potential to soak up targets in this offense and be utilized. I know that he's going to have a role where some of these other guys here in this spot, in the 20th round, I just can't say the same thing. So Nelson Aguilar, 20th round here. You are now up at the 2011.
You sniped me. I mean, he's a starting wide receiver, man. I
Right.
mean, he's starting. He's probably going to be the number one wide receiver outside the tight end. So I think that's a hell of a pick. And right here, I'm going to take a player that I talked about his competition on Twitter a couple of days ago from Tennessee, and I tried to get excited about this Fitzpatrick, and it's real hard. I'm trying to get excited about Fitzpatrick, and it's difficult. And quite frankly, I think Josh Reynolds is probably the better wide receiver at this point in time.
Right.
He's probably going to be the number 2 to A.J. Brown's number 1. There's no tight end of consequence. Ferkser's he's cool, but I'm going to bet on Josh Reynolds. I'm going to take the dart throw on Josh Reynolds here in the 20th. Haskins off of the board. DJ Dallas off of the board. This is just pure get your guy season. You know what? Man, good grief. This is just... I'm looking at running back. I don't even... at this point, looking at the running backs on the board, I think that's just a wasted pick. It's not even a dart throw. Like, it's truly just a wasted...
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You wasted a pick. So, I'm going to do this. Let's do it, and I'll let you grade the pick.
Oh, F minus. Tutu Atwell going off the board at the 21:02 to Ray GQ squad. Yeah, you made that pick.
Listen, he's a second-round pick. He's going to get
know.
down the field. It's all right here in the 21st round.
Yeah, in the 21st round. And again, like this is towards the territory, we've talked about it on previous podcasts, where like towards this part of your Superflex, or your Dynasty startup draft, even your rookie draft, these are guys that you want to be able to move on from quickly, right? Because there are going to be these players who pop up on the waiver wire, these guys who can make an impact, and then you need someone to be able to drop for him. So with Tutu, you're hoping that he shows out in the preseason and that you have enough reason to hold on to him. The draft capital might be that for you. So, all right, 2106 for me, John Brown here. I will just add him here to the squad because I need some wide receiver depth. I do think that the Raiders are going to have to be throwing the ball a lot more than what they have in previous seasons with the downgrades to the offensive line that they've got. They have a tough schedule on the ground to start the season, too, looking at this upcoming season. So John Brown here, I might not have him for more than a year, but that's fine here in the 21st round. So 2207, I am now back on the clock, and I'm looking at some of the tight ends. I want to add some depth here to this position where I've got Dallas Goddard and Jonnu Smith, and I'm going to go with Blake Jarwin here, where Jarwin was hyped coming into last year. Now he got injured immediately. I think he only saw like one target last season. He might not have even had a target, but early injury, did not get a chance to show what he's got, but they've invested in him. I think that they've got a plan, and I do think that he's the starting tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. So 2207 here, Blake Jarwin is my tight end 3. I will take that. You are now up at the 2211, just a few more picks here.
Yeah, just to spite you, because I think this is the tight end 1 in Dallas, not Blake Jarwin. I think it's Dalton Schultz. I don't know why people keep discounting Schultz. He's not coming off the field. I'm taking Dalton Schultz right here just to spite your Blake Jarwin pick. We saw Duke Johnson come off of the board. I was going to grab Eno as a handcuff. I think I'm going to go, you know what? I'm just going to take a chance. Maybe we get a season with a healthy hamstring. Sammy Watkins is good for one monster game a season, and hopefully I can trade him for a 2022 third rounder after he blows up week 2 of the season. So we'll go Sammy Watkins here at 1302.
Man, I don't know if you're getting anyone to bite on a trade for Sammy Watkins in Dynasty, but valiant effort. I will go here at the 2306. I'm looking at the wide receivers we've got here. There are some guys that are worth taking shots on, and I'm going to go Quintez Cephas here because with Tyrell Williams, with Brashad Perryman, neither of these guys are exactly pure models of health. So I think Quintez Cephas, I think that he has a chance to be a starting receiver in this offense, and it's not going to be a very good offense in 2021, but if he can show out and he can solidify a role with this new coaching staff and regime, I think that he's got the potential to stick on this roster. So again, looking for the guys that can show out pretty quickly here and give me a reason to hold on to them on my roster. I'll go Quintez Cephas at the 2306. And I am back on the clock. I caught it. Only took 24 rounds for me to figure out when I'm back on the clock here. All right, so 2407, I'm making my final pick. And I want the dartest throws of dartest throws. I will go here looking down the board. I'm going to go with... It's between Travis Fulgham and Jalen Guyton for me, where Fulgham, new coaching staff, they need that outside receiver, right? Because you have Jalen Reagor, who I do think is going to be moved into the slot. You have Devontae Smith. Both of these guys are not exactly big-bodied receivers. Travis Fulgham showed out last year, and then the coaching staff moved away from him. New coaching staff. Let's see what they do here. Jalen Guyton has the potential to be a starting receiver in that offense, and fill the role that he did last year. So, which one do I think has more chance of being a starting receiver? I'm going to go Jalen Guyton here. I'm going to pull the trigger here, and I think that he can get onto the field with Justin Herbert. I'll go the quarterback there. I'll let the quarterback be the tiebreaker that I think Justin Herbert is better than Jalen Hurts. Newsflash. So, all right, Cornell Powell at the 2408. Emmanuel Sanders, Brashad Perryman, Ray, one pick away from closing us out. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a player that I still believe in, and he's in an offense that is great, and hopefully he improves from his rookie season where he looked pretty good in limited duty. But I'm going to take Tyler Johnson here from Tampa Bay here to round out my squad.
All right, so the draft is complete. Ray, do you have your draft grade?
Yeah, what's yours?
All right, I got an A-. I got a 91 out of 100.
Yeah, we need to talk to the developers because I got an 84. I got an 84. There's no way I should have gotten an 84 out of 100.
It's because you took Dalton Schultz, man. It's because you took Dalton Schultz. Oh goodness! All right, you want to run through it? You want to run through your roster?
Yeah, real quick. Roster: Josh Allen, Cam Akers, David Montgomery, Chase Edmonds, DJ Moore, Jerry Judy, Devontae Smith, Noah Fant, Michael Gallup, Trevor Lawrence, Leonard Fournette, Trey Sermon, Robert Tonyan, Cole Kmet, Darnell Mooney, Mac Jones, Brian Edwards, and the Michael P. Ryan, Sammy Watkins, Josh Reynolds, Tyler Johnson, Dalton Schultz, Kellen Mond, and the great Tutu Atwell.
Perfect. All right, for me, I've got Jonathan Taylor, Russell Wilson, Joe Mixon, Trey Lance, Allen Robinson, Julio Jones, Myles Gaskin, Kirk Cousins, Melvin Gordon, Corey Davis, Mike Davis, Brandon Cooks, Dallas Goddard, Jonnu Smith, Savon Ahmed, Latavius Murray, and Dwayne Eskridge, Traquan Smith, Tyrod Taylor, Nelson Aguilar, John Brown, Blake Jarwin, Quintez Cephas, and Jalen Guyton to round it out, man. All right, man, that was a ton of fun. Hopefully that gives a kind of sense and kind of feel for where these rookies are landing. I feel like I didn't have much of a sense until we got to that later round, but it is really interesting. And one thing that I wanted to highlight and make note of as we were going through it is like with some of these rookies getting elevated, right? And maybe even with the rookie hype, right? And that factors into ADP. I think that has gotten to the point where it's pushing some guys down the board. Like for me to get Allen Robinson in the middle of the 5th round, like that's just crazy. And I think that's because you're starting to see some of these rookies creep up into ADP. People are starting to buy in, and it's pushing some really, really good value down the board. So if you are heading into a startup, make sure that you pay attention to that. Pay attention to where these rookies are going, and don't overreact. If people are overreaching for rookies, then just sit tight and take advantage of that value falling to you. But anything that you wanted to add here, Ray, on the startup and just kind of takeaways, and then we'll kind of close it out here.
I just, much like rookie drafts, I just think that once you solidify a stud quarterback, you need to hammer running back early and often because, and I know it doesn't sound the best, but when you're getting players like Nelson Aguilar in the 19th round or whatever you drafted him, he's a starting wide receiver. The running backs were done by round 6. You just, you need to get your running backs early. And if I could redo that, I probably would have taken a running back without Patrick Mahomes. I probably would have gone running back and felt a lot better about my team.
For sure. All right, well, that is going to wrap it up as far as the startup conversation. Now, Ray, I just, again, want to just take a second, man, and just thank you so much for your involvement on this podcast. It has been an absolute pleasure of mine to be able to do this podcast with you. So want to make sure that we just take a second, say thank you to you for making it work for these past few months. I know that it has not been easy for you, but want to say thank you, man. Really, really appreciate it. And, of course, we'll have you back on soon.
Appreciate it. Just thank you, Kyle. Thank you to the entire Fantasy Pro staff and team. It's been a pleasure. Can't wait to work with y'all in the future. Absolutely.
So I want to take a second and talk about where we're going here, heading into the 2022 season, the 2021 season, and then the 2022 NFL Draft. So what we're going to do here is this will be the last episode for a couple of weeks here. Again, I mentioned it on, I think, the episode previously that I just need a break. I need to step away here. Been going nonstop since August of last year. So I'm going to take just a couple of weeks here, step back. This will allow us to kind of get a plan in place. And then hopefully starting in June, we will come back here and with the new co-host in place, that will be announced here pretty soon, hopefully, and just kind of get our eggs in all in one basket and kind of everything in order, and then we just hit that hard and we go into the next season here. So we'll be back here within a couple of weeks here. But so if you don't see a podcast in your queue within the next couple of weeks, know that is intentional. That's planned. We will be back. We'll have a new co-host in place, of course. Gonna miss Ray, but. All right, so thank you to Reality Sports Online for sponsoring today's podcast. Again, head over to realitysportsonline.com to figure out what they've got going on over there with their amazing platform. Ray, really, really appreciate it, man. Gonna miss you. Gonna miss doing this podcast with you, but wish you nothing but the best. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, Yates.
Absolutely. All right, for Ray Garvin, I'm Kyle Yates, and we'll see you next time. Looking for useful content, fantasy-relevant information, and the data that can help your team win? Then make sure to subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. And while you're at it, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Fantasy Pros so we can help you dominate your league all season long.